Well, welcome in to Blues Central postgame here on STL Sports Central. And before we get anything, don't forget that this postgame is sponsored by Drink Thunder energy drink or pre-workout. Fuel your fire with Drink Thunder, the all-natural pre-workout that hits different. Plant-based, fruit-powered, zero sugar, sweetened naturally with monk fruit. That's right. You heard that right. Monk fruit. Each serving is packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to ignite your energy and push your performance to the next level. Choose your flavor: orange mango, blackberry lemonade, or strawberry cream. Feel a rush the natural way. Order now at drinkthunder.com. Drink Thunder, pure power, no crash, all natural. Well, let's get it off. I'm just gonna. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. I think at this point we gotta face the inevitable. I'm pissed off. I'm not happy with this team with how everything's going. Yes, there's things that we can look at. Yes, there's positives. But now after this game, I don't think there's excuses. And I think, yes, they got a point. Good deal. Yes, they played very well. Good deal. They still lost. And now it's getting to a point. So, and yes, Aaron, yeah, I seem pretty calm. But I'm trying not to, lose it, first of all, because that's how you try and stay cool. But if I went off, this would be a whole different thing. And I've seen enough bad hockey to know that at this point, you just got to take a deep breath and say you're mad and then move on. But right now we're going to talk about it. We're going to let you guys talk about it. And Thomas, let's open it up with you right away. What are the thoughts?
Actually, I know chat is going nuts about the spin zone, but if you watch this game and you believe that this is the same old Blues team that we just watched get dismembered against the Red Wings, get dismembered against the Blackhawks, get dismembered against the Minnesota Wild. Like, I don't know, you're just watching a different hockey game, or you're just looking through like negative lenses of just like, oh, we lost, so this team's a disaster. Like, it's very obvious that the team showed up play tonight. 18 shots on goal for the Vancouver Canucks defensively. Like, they did all you could ask for in terms of limiting their chances. Now, obviously, Kiefer Sherwood is on an absolute tear this season. He was on an absolute tear last season too. Like, the guy's just a bona fide stud. Put it in the smallest window imaginable on a broken play for one of his goals, scored on the power play for another one, and a breakaway for another one. So it's like, you know, I'm not trying to make excuses for this team. The puck is definitely bouncing against them, and like,
100%.
On the final goal, like, of the night from Vancouver, I think the one that got called back, I don't know, but like, gets deflected off of a guy in front and just goes right to his feet, and he's sitting in the slot like wide open. Like, out of the Blues had 39 shots on goal tonight. How many times did that happen for them? None. Like, they had to create like picture perfect moments. Like, they couldn't generate any breakaway chances. Like, they had the traffic in front of the net. They made life on Lankinen difficult. Like, their banging bodies had 17 hits on the night, and they, for the most part, compared to the rest of their season, stayed out of the penalty box, only had 6 penalty minutes. So I don't know, like, Dvorsky looked amazing. Jimmy Snuggerud looked amazing. You guys are going to sit in here and chat and tell me it's the same old team. Oh, yeah, like, here comes the spin zone. Like, you're just not watching the game, dude. Like, this is a completely just because it's the same result doesn't mean it was the same process to get there. Like, this team was in it all the way through. I think they outplayed Vancouver Canucks in every single period. Like, that's all that we've been asking for them. Like, I don't feel bad. Like, I don't feel nearly as bad about this team moving forward throughout the course of this season now. Do I like losing? Absolutely not. Am I happy we got a point? Yes, because it's a step in the right direction. But ultimately, the process is what we're looking for, right? Like, you can get choked up about the results all that you want, but the process is what's going to end up getting you the results down the road. And the Blues process was in place tonight. So for that reason, I'm excited because it's a step in the right direction from the debacle that we've seen these last couple of games. So obviously the losing streak is still going. That's not great. Nobody's happy about that, including the St. Louis Blues. But if you think Jim Montgomery is going to go into the post game conference tonight and be like, yeah, we suck, this was the worst team, like, I don't know what's wrong with us, like, he's going to tell you the positive things because he knows exactly what he saw. And we saw a Jimmy Snuggerud that turned it on, that was not a shell of himself, and the Jimmy Snuggerud that everyone is talking about as potential for the Calder Trophy this year. That's the Jimmy Snuggerud that we saw tonight. An absolute piss missile off the post and in. And you guys are like bitching in the chat that this team's still a nightmare and going to finish in last place. Like, give me a break, dude. Like, it's not going to be perfect every night, and they're not going to win every single game. But all you can ask for them to do is put together a full 60 minutes. And they did more than that tonight because they played in overtime and a shootout. Like, yes, Braden Shen fumbled the puck in the shootout. It happens. He's also been like your best player throughout the course of this season and the heart of your team. Fought a guy and got a goal in the last game. So, like, I don't know. Like, you can try to scapegoat all these players that you want, but the process is there. It's on them to keep that process in place and systematically keep building in the right direction. So that's what I'm going to look for from the St. Louis Blues next game.
I mean, simple as this. I'm going to talk about Shen's shootout really quick and just say when bad things are happening consistently, they just don't seem to stop. I'm not going to blame Shen on that at all. Do mistakes happen? Yes. Should he have got it? Yes. I'm not going to make the excuse that it's all Shen's, it's not something that Shen should have avoided. But again, it's like, you can't put everything on Shen for one shootout attempt that he made a mistake on, because there's a lot of mistakes we can look down on. I think that would make a different reason, especially on that one of those Shearwood goals where he comes in wide open with a lot of space, just because all of a sudden, I believe it was Bukestad comes off and then they don't even look behind shoulders. I mean, simple as that. Look behind your shoulder. Check. See if a guy, I don't know, you're checking around saying, hey, there's 4 guys on the ice. Where's the 5th one? Oh, I bet he's behind me. Not even a thought.
I will say this, though. And I agree with you. That was a lapse, right? But for the St. Louis Blues and for any team in the NHL, it's a bend but don't break mentality. I mean, you've got Jake Neighbors and Robert Thomas out of the lineup right now. It's next men up, and that includes Dalibor Dvorsky, which, again, my God, what a brilliant game from him. I think it's a completely different player from the guy that we saw last year that kind of came in a little bit undersized, right? Like the skating ability is not there. Like, I mean, this guy, it didn't look like there was any holes in his game tonight, and it really felt like Jim Montgomery kept going back to him in pressure situations because he was playing so well. That being said, I was disappointed with the untimely line change, right? But that's going to happen throughout the course of a game, and you still have to find ways to claw your way back into a game and bend but don't break. And too many times throughout the course of the season, and specifically this losing streak, the Blues, when they've bent, they've broken altogether, and then their entire game goes down the drain, and it's been an absolute nightmare, right? That didn't happen tonight. They bent when they line changed at the wrong time, but they clawed their way back and fought their way back, and it felt like I said, I think they outplayed the Vancouver Canucks in every period tonight. You get to the shootout, and the puck doesn't bounce your way in the shootout. You can say what you want about the Blues are always bad in the shootout. Like they really don't have those guys. Jake Neighbors has that like one good move, and that's like we hope that Benner just makes all the saves. Like, it is what it is, right? That's the nature of the beast. But you come away with a point, positive results in the system and the process, and I think that's the most important point for me.
I think right now is that we're seeing the inconsistency the most. And I think that is what's mostly getting on my nerves with this team is that, Snuggerud, Dvorsky, they have really good games, but did anyone else have like a great game? Obviously, Matthew Joseph stepped up very well. I believe he was off the 4th line tonight, and he was playing up a little bit more. I think he was they kind of mixed him around a little bit. It seemed like that every now and then he'd be up with playing with Snuggerud for some odd reason and still playing well with those guys. But he's been playing well. I thought the 4th line did a good job. Sundqvist had a couple of good chances, wasn't able to bury anything, stepped up really well in the penalty kill. But that being said, I mean, like, we're talking about individual players. Holloway's had a good game, but where's, Bushnevich after he had a good game or two? Where did he go tonight? Shen's still having a rough time kind of picking it up as the captain, and obviously nothing behind him. Love the guy to death. I mean, he is an excellent player, and I think he's an amazing leader. He's just not stepping up to the play right now. I think might as well just bite this one in the butt. I think one. No, I think the major one would be 8. I'd say 2 more. Next one, because what do we got next? Let's see. I'll get back to that point here in a second.
I'll touch on it while you're looking at the schedule. I'll just touch on it and say I think you're allowed to panic now, right? Like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that. Like I'm hyper focusing on tonight's performance in a capsule, right? I think this is a positive performance for the St. Louis Blues because, in my estimation, they played a full 60 and outplayed the Vancouver Canucks throughout the course of the game. They just didn't get the win, and that 9 times out of 10. 8 times out of 10 throughout the course of an NHL season, like a tonight's process and system for the St. Louis Blues will get them a W. And I believe in that. Like you can talk about trying to blame Jordan Binnington, like Kiefer Sherwood just putting the puck in like impossible corners on a broken play. He's scoring on a breakaway. Somehow that's Jordan Binnington's fault. Like, look, guys, like Joel Hofer has been struggling. Jordan Binnington is not a problem. Like the defense has consistently throughout this losing streak led up like high danger chances that Binnington should not be expected to save, but we do expect him to make those saves because he's one of the best goaltenders in the league. And somehow we shifted that into this philosophy that Jordan Binnington sucks when he doesn't. And like we talked about on the last post game, like at one point, Ville Husso was a starter for the Detroit Red Wings. So I think probably 80% of the NHL would love to have Jordan Binnington in their net. So for us to be like, oh yeah, he's terrible, get him off my team is actually kind of crazy considering he's probably like 85% of the reason that we even won a Stanley Cup, especially in Game 7, spearheading that team. But look, like we can talk about scapegoats all that we want. Like it's a team, right? It's a team result always. And really like you could scapegoat any kind of players right now because the majority of them are struggling. But like I said, I think the positives outweigh the negatives in tonight's game. Obviously, the big negative is the fact that we lost and the losing streak is still going. But I think we're starting to see players like turning in the right direction. And really, I think the arrival of Dalibor Dvorsky has kind of led to that. Like a new guy comes in and you're like, oh, like I got to show this guy. I'm going to take this guy under my wing and be the mentor and kind of show him like what it's like in the NHL and how to be successful. And then you kind of like, you know, reverse engineer your own game. And you're like, well, I've been struggling in that. I can't struggle in front of the new guy. Like I got to show him what's up. And I think that's why we saw steps closer in the right direction for the St. Louis Blues tonight. Just didn't get them the result.
So we'll get back to that consistency thing, but what we're hoping is that by December 1st, what is consistently hitting for all you guys back home is some bets, whether it's on the Blues, some nearby teams, say the Grizzlies, maybe some basketball, football, whatever it may be. By that time, hopefully your bets are hitting consistently. So don't forget, by that time, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets. There's a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who are doing pre-launch. Sign up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. So, bet against this team, and you probably profit. And I'm just going to say this right now. And again, I was talking about the consistency. And right now, that is that's what's really making me mad is this team's not consistent in how the players are stepping up. And especially when it comes to total lines, I think the only line that's consistent is the fourth line, and they're having some ups and downs. But I think in terms that's just in production. I think every night they're a good line, but the rest of them, they're not being consistent enough. And especially on the defensive side, they need to be more consistent. Simple as that. And they're not stepping up well. And you're not seeing, and that's why you're seeing guys saying, oh, this guy's having a bad game. And all of a sudden he has one good game. And then he kind of fades out, and then all of a sudden you go, "Where has they been? Where have you been? Where has Buchnevich been? Oh, he scores a couple goals, and now he's gone again." I mean, we need this. They need to be more consistent from game to game and not just, oh, they're consistent every period. No, you need to be consistent every 60 minutes, and they're not doing that right now.
Samuel Howe in the chat says, "Woohoo, go fourth liners, buddy." I don't know
love
how to break this to you, but the fourth liners have been St. Louis Blues bread and butter. Like, that's the whole reason that they won the Stanley Cup, was because their fourth line was so dominant and they were able to match them up against first liners. So if you don't want to get excited about the fourth liners, this is probably a wrong team for you. But that's what sets them apart consistently year in and year out from the entire rest of the league, is that their fourth line is a mismatch against every other fourth line in the league, but also some of the top lines defensively. Like, they can just lock them down. Speaking of guys like that, Oscar Sundqvist, Jim Montgomery was quoted as calling him team's binky. You can kind of like rely on him in any situation, which is a crazy analogy. I can
that
see
is wild.
He's Jacob. But being able to rely on him in any situation, I think, is crucial. And I think that's something that this team was missing when Oscar was out with his injury. He's just a Swiss Army knife, like, as much as you like, right? And we saw that at play tonight, because he took one of the last faceoffs of the game in a dire situation. They're like, I'm calling on Sonny, because I know he's either going to win the faceoff or he's going to lose the faceoff and do everything in his power to dive in front of that shot like Lethal Weapon, or like he's trying to save. He's like, Mr. President, like that. That's what he does, right? He just eats shots and keeps them from getting on goal to Binnington, or, making their way through traffic and hitting 4 or 5 guys behind it before it goes into the back of the net, because consistently that's what's been happening against this team. So I think there's, like, look, we can go down the list. Matthew Joseph, phenomenal game from him. Like, he's a needle mover for this team right now, which I think nobody would have thought that coming into this. We were questioning if he was even going to make the roster in that third line right wing spot. Now it feels like you can't take him out of it, and good for him, because, like, I don't think he was on anybody's radar, and he's been phenomenal. He's been an engine for this team. Like, that's crazy to say. Pew Suter had a good performance tonight against his former team. It's kind of what you expect in a revenge game scenario. Couldn't put the puck in the back of the net a couple of times in dire situations, but he was doing everything in his power to drive the offense straight to the crease, which is exactly what you want from him. But Dalibor Dvorsky, second line center, on a line with Joseph and Kyrou, like, I think, and maybe that's just, it's simple as that, like him just playing with better players instead of in a third line winger scenario. He's in a position that he's more comfortable in playing center. And my God, I think he was like 7-3 in faceoff wins at one point. I'm like, are we sure this guy's as young as he's talking about? Like, that should be like consistently, like, usually where these young guys come up and they struggle, like, right off the bat. And that's why they put them at wingers, because they're like, oh, if you can't win faceoffs at the NHL level, like, it's tough to slot you in there. But Dvorsky was holding his own against, some vets. So that's great to see from him. But like I said, and Dylan Holloway gets on the score sheet too. And he's kind of been, I'm sure he's been gripping his stick a little bit tighter, because the goals haven't been flowing like they were last season. But I thought there was a good performance from him tonight too. So I think there's some positives to take away from this, although the result wasn't there. I think from an individual standpoint, like, things are looking good for the squad, and they just have to keep building in the right direction.
Yeah. I mean, I think a good way to transition here, no leadership, just a bunch of, well, yeah. And kind of going up with talking about seeing the leadership on the ice. Samuel Howe coming up with this one. That's a bold take, but I don't argue with it. But I will say, I mean, on the ice, I have to agree, it's a little hard to see. I mean, I'm not going to say anything about being an NHL cap. I think it's one of the hardest jobs that you can have in terms of in the sports world. And I don't think it's an easy thing. And I think it's you have to toe such a hard, like, I feel like, I cover college hockey a lot. And again, it's like watching a college hockey captain defending his team all the time, a little bit different than a guy at the pro level. I mean, because, Shen knows probably 90% of the league at this point. He's been here for so long. He's not just going to go in and start punching some guy he's known for 10 years. That being said, I think, like, I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of been a little absent, and you'd like to see it a little more. And I think especially too, like you're not seeing it from Falk, despite wearing the A. I think we've seen it a little bit from Thomas. Parayko, I think, is really the one stepping up the most in terms of the leadership behind Shen. And even then, I don't think he's really showing up as like, oh, that guy's your guy. Like he's yours. Like he's desert. Like he has the A on for a reason. He leads this team with gumption. But I think the leadership has been a little lacking in terms of the eye test. I don't know what's going on the ice. Obviously, I'm not on the bench, so I can't hear everything. But in terms of the play we're seeing, it's a little different than what we've seen from, a lot of different teams. And we're not seeing that same on ice leadership, I think, that we've seen in recent years in terms of the play. Simply, not like we have with when Ryan O'Reilly was the captain. You don't really see that anymore. And I'm not saying, again, this is not a bad leadership group. In terms of the on ice play, it's just not there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I think I get what you're saying. Like it's tough when, like, from a vocal leader standpoint, like Braden Shen is obviously your guy, but then like fumbling the puck in the shootout is like tough because like But then also like last game he starts it off with a fight and a goal, so it's like I think he knows what his role on this team is and gets the boys jumping. I think in his last press conference, post game conference, he was talking about like missing out on like the absence of Robert Thomas and Jake Neighbors. So he knows that like the road in front of him, like he has to take even more weight in the offensive capabilities of this team and the checking because Jake Neighbors is a huge part of that, and the playmaking because Robert Thomas is a huge part of that. But, it's always next man up mentality with this team. And he knows as good as anybody does that this team is not successful without its depth. So you can't really be like, oh, like we talked about it last game. We can't really be like, oh, like Jake Neighbors and Robert Thomas are out. Like no wonder the Blues are losing all these games. Like they should still be able to compete with teams night in and night out. And I think, again, that's why I'm coming back to, like, if you're just watching hockey and being like black and white, losing is bad, winning is good. Like, I think you're just missing out on a whole lot of in between the lines. Cause I think that's why tonight is a positive result, because you are missing two of your key playmakers. Obviously I think the Blues somehow still struggle with like, hey, if Kiefer Sherwood is finding success against you, maybe like cover him a little bit closer, right? Bang bodies against him a little bit harder, like be a little bit tougher to play against when he's on the ice instead of like just letting him waltz you. So I would like to see them but they've had problems with that, like even dating back years, even though like guys like Patrick Laine, Clayton Keller, like some guys just have our number and it doesn't feel like the Blues can do anything about it. So I would like to see them get that figured out. But yeah, I think it's trending in the right direction. And, I'll be excited to see what happens on Saturday against the Blue Jackets. That's for sure.
Well, don't forget, Blues Postgame is brought to you as well by our business banking partners at Home Bank. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one as a trusted partner. Business isn't just about numbers, but relationship. And with Home Bank, those relationships makes all the difference. Home Bank is a team behind our team here at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Home Bank, member FDIC. More than a bank, they're your business partner. Coming up later, we will have our Home Bank money movement of the game, but not there just yet. So 6 in a row. It seems like now that even when you've had things figured out, you still don't manage to win. In my mind, I'm thinking you just keep continuing to grow and you'll start winning some more games based on what we've seen tonight. I think some people are thinking maybe there's some changes that need to be made, not just obviously not extreme changes, but certainly some changes. You get a few days break and then you're back at it on the 1st. What do we think that they do in order to see if they can turn it around against Columbus?
Honestly, I think the change, and I'm in the camp as much as everybody else. Like last post game, I was talking about like who potentially could get traded. So I'm with you. Like the panic scenarios were definitely setting in, and it felt like
I don't think it's at that point yet, but
Well, it felt like we were at the point to where like Doug Armstrong needed to send a message to this team. That being said, I think today with the arrival of Dalibor Dvorsky and with the impact that he made on the game tonight, not just from an individual standpoint, but from a team standpoint, it felt like guys kind of screwed their heads on just because he came in and they're like, you know, he's going to be potentially like taking minutes away from guy. And it's just another person in the fold. Like, I think Dvorsky and his arrival, like, is that message from Doug Armstrong. Like, we're willing to try anything right now, including throwing in the guy that, like, by all accounts, in Doug Armstrong's mind, is probably playing like too early, and that's why that he didn't make the team out of camp. But when when you're down guys and injuries like early in the season, that's when you look to your farm system to pull guys up. And I think there's no question why Dalibor Dvorsky was the first on that list, and we saw an example tonight. So I don't know what's going to happen once Jake Neighbors and Robert Thomas comes back, but I do think it's a small sample size, right? And it's a microcosm. But I think with the way that Dalibor Dvorsky played tonight, I don't think, like I said, based off this one sample size, that you're going to be sending him back down tomorrow.
No way. I don't think. I mean, certainly Dvorsky doesn't move back down, especially after his play today. I'm
saying even once Neighbors and Robert Thomas come back, like I think Dvorsky is the closest thing that we've seen this season so far to having Zachary Bolduc on that third line as a scoring threat. You know what I mean? Like Matthew Joseph's been phenomenal, and I mean he was playing second line minutes tonight. Like I have no problem with him playing there because he's been a stud. But if you're looking to get that third line going, which it feels like the Blues have kind of been wishy-washy everywhere this season, including the third line. I think Dvorsky is a good way to do that because they had so much success with Zachary Bolduc scoring in that position in a mismatch role last season. I think Dvorsky could, potentially provide that same spark.
I mean, I certainly agree. And I think just getting some movement in terms of either switching things up or moving guys down a little bit more. I think you send a guy down that seemed to be a guy, on a two-way that was either on a two-way or maybe even wave a guy that's a little bit underperforming and say, hey, this could be literally anyone. I mean, simple as that.
Or start healthy bombing people too. Like that's a great way to send a message as well. Like a veteran on the squad, be like, hey, go sit in the press box for a while. It's like, okay, maybe everybody needs to like
say, hey, you're not going
a little better.
I mean, simple as that. You can just straight up just be like, hey, you're not going tonight. And that'll piss guys off a lot. And especially if you're saying, if you look, I mean, imagine Monty looks at Buchnevich and just goes, you're sitting tonight.
Yeah.
Like that
it's also nice the presence of Bjugstad now because like Bjugstad can also play on wing. So like before where Dvorsky was kind of in that wing position and really had no spot at center, like the Blues have that flexibility now to be like, hey, Dvorsky looked pretty good in tonight's game at center. Let's keep him at center and just kind of build around that in our bottom six instead of being like, hey, tough news. The only spot we can isolate you to is the winger position that you're not as good at. Like, good luck tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we are getting close to the end here. And again, you look forward, and I think right now all you can do is, as fans is, I mean, obviously we don't have control over what they do and their decisions, but I think what you can do is hope. And right now, all we got to do is maybe, I don't know, try and back this team as much as we can. And I don't know if there's a tipping point just yet, but I think it's getting dang close, to say the least.
I mean, you definitely got to start linking some W's together. Right?
That's for sure.
Let me look at this schedule here and see, like, we got coming up. I know Columbus on Saturday. Monday is the Edmonton Oilers, so that's going to be a tough task, although I think they've been a little bit shaky to start their season, so you never know. It seems like a lot of teams are either, like, way overperforming, like, what their expectations were or what they did last year, or way underperforming, and nobody's really like, hey, we're in a good spot. Let's just keep doing this. You know what I mean? So, Blue Jackets on Saturday. Monday is the Oilers. Capitals on Wednesday and Sabres on Thursday. In that 4-game stretch, how many do you think the Blues win? I say 2-2. I think we beat the Blue Jackets on Saturday because of pieces in the right direction here. I'll say we lose to the Oilers, lose to the Capitals, and then I think we beat the Sabres. Aaron Dodson says loss. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to do a show for Aaron next time, and I'll just be like completely negative the whole time and talk about nothing good.
Yelling obscenities.
Super entertaining to just rip this team apart and be like, everyone sucks, trade everyone. No one should ever watch this hockey team again. And it's embarrassing that you guys even tune into this post game. Like, how much fun would that be?
Not very, in my opinion, but
I think the discourse is more fun, right? I think it's fun when I hop on here and Jacob is like, that was the worst game I've ever seen. I'm like, well, I actually saw some good things. And I think that back and forth is what people appreciate. And like,
oh, trust me, I saw good things. I'm just a pessimistic.
There's no, listen, bro, I'm not telling you you're in the wrong here, because 1,000% there is a million reasons to be pessimistic about this squad. I'm still not sure that a second round playoff appearance is even a realistic scenario at this point. All I'm saying is, in a small sample size of this game tonight and the process that I'm looking for this team to succeed over the course of an entire season, I saw things that make me a little more hopeful, right? And a little bit more like a little bit more upbeat than I normally am. I mean, chat's been here, right? Like if you guys have been in this post game, I've been here consistently. I was ripping this team apart, telling them that people in Missouri working 9 to 5 and they can't even show up for an hour. Like, I was not mincing my words about this squad. Tonight's a little bit of a different tune just because I liked what I saw. And, maybe that's me trying to find the positive and balance out the negative of what I've been talking about. But I feel like I'm trying to be genuine when I'm covering this team, not just like, be a company man and be like, oh, the Blues are paying my paycheck, so I got to like rub them up so they can sell tickets. So that's not what's happening here. Like, I'm just giving you my analysis of what I'm seeing. Jacob's giving you analysis of what he's seen. And then we talk about it, and it's a good time. And we're going to have a couple beers after this, and that's going to be a great time too.
Well, not me, but you will. Anyway, love that. Before we get to our money moment, I just want to mention too, I think realistically 2-2, I agree with that. Optimistically, probably 3-1. I think. I just don't know who that loss would be to.
Who do you like the dubs?
I think definitely Columbus and Buffalo. It's a toss-up. I think they can beat Edmonton. They can take one from either Edmonton or Washington. I just don't know who or when. But I think the Columbus one in Buffalo are definitely they play like they did tonight and can step up a little bit more defensively. I think it's positive. So before we get to our money moment of the game, don't forget to follow us. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on X, Instagram, pretty much every dang social media in the world. We are most likely on it. Make sure to check out stlsportscentral.com. Check out all of our written content from Mike Meyer, Bernie, the rest of us. I don't write, but, you get the point. Make sure to check out all of our stuff. Follow all of us. Follow all the big guys. Follow Randy, Bernie, Thomas, Mike. I wouldn't mind to follow either, but anyway, I digress. Make sure to follow everyone. We'll try and keep you up to date with everything we cover, because we know that's what you guys want to see and hear. So let's get in to our money moment of the game before we wrap this one up. Money moment of the game brought to you by Home Bank, the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Thomas, what do you got?
I think the easy one for me is Pew Suter goal in the third period, tied up on the power play. I think, all things considered in that third period, it felt like the Blues were playing well. And then when Sherwood scored, it's like, oh, dude, here we go again. Like, you know what I mean? It's like this team just can't get out of their own way. Like, they continue to struggle, and like they finally feel like they're playing a third period in a full 60 minutes and they still lose. Like, that sucks. They're not going to get a point. Like, all of these things are racing through my mind. And then for Pew Suter to be like, hey, shut up. Everything's okay. We're playing well. And the puck's in the back of the net. Like, that was great. That was a great moment for me. And just kind of like set it back and be like, oh yeah, like there's a reason that I felt good about their play so far. And it's like the results are coming with it. Obviously the W didn't happen But they did get a point, and they crawled their way back into a game where they were losing in the third period. And that hasn't happened many times this season. So it's another positive. I know everybody wants us to talk about the negative, which I would love to hear. Like we're talking about the negative that's chat's talking about, and I'm kind of like crushing all of them. So I like outside of like the line changes and like maybe short up the defense a little bit better. And like, maybe like Jordan Binnington should make a couple more saves that you like don't expect him to make because he got scored on a breakaway and got scored on an absolute snipe as well. And then a broken play on a bounce, like off the boards. Like that was the 3 goals for the Vancouver Canucks that happened in regulation. Like, I don't know. They can always play better for sure. But like, I think there's more positives than negatives tonight. And that's why I'm talking about the positives. Not that I'm not trying to avoid the negatives, but money moment of the game, Pew Suter, revenge goal against his old team, send him to overtime and gets the Blues a point. I love it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, again, we appreciate you guys. I'm just going to start before we leave here. I've been seeing a lot of talk about Gavin McKenna in the chat. As a college hockey guy, overrated. I don't think Gavin McKenna should be the number 1 overall pick. That's just a personal pick of mine. I don't know. Been following enough to say that clearly, if he's pure number 1 pick overall, Penn State would be much better than they actually are. Just saying.
D. Brown says the Blues dominated them. They should have won. Hey, way too positive, bro. Get out of my chat. Actually, I'm going to ban you from chat.
Yeah, no. Stop being positive. This
is disgusting. Negative. The audacity for you to come into this room and spew positivity at a time like this when
get out of here.
You're talking about
leave.
You're talking about Blues dominating and they've lost 6 in a row. What kind of analysis?
What is this?
Just absolutely, you make me sick.
God,
you know that? I am repulsed right now.
That is disgusting. Gross. Ew. Ugh. Why would
How
you
could that even cross your mind?
I can't
Domination?
God, what is it like? Hope?
For 60 minutes?
Is there hope here? What's going on?
I mean, come on.
There is no hope. Season's over. Simple as that. Ugh. Nasty.
He says the chat broke, you guys. Yeah, everybody's broken right now, dude. We got to build it back up. No, for real, though, I do agree with you. I think they dominated them, and they should have won. But that's the first step to getting back in the win column is dominating and playing the full 60 minutes. You can't win a game when you get dominated for a full 60 minutes. Like, it just doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So, for the Blues, it's a step in the right direction in the process. 9 times out of 10, they're going to win that game. They didn't tonight. It's any given Sunday in NHL as much as it is football. They're going to turn it around. I believe this game tonight makes me feel like they're going to turn it around. And then if they go in Saturday and it's a debacle again, then we're right back where we started.
Well, you know what they say. At this point, it's time to pray to whatever God you believe in and start hoping. Or whatever. But simple as this, we appreciate everyone jumping in to the chat. Again, I mean, we don't have this show without you guys. So even if it doesn't matter if you're chirping us or, giving us stuff to talk about, as always, thank you for hopping in. We cannot do this show without you. So certainly always appreciate it. But I think that will just wrap it up for us again. Thank you for joining us here on Blues Central Postgame. Thomas Welch to my side. I'm Jacob Stonick. It's been a pleasure. We will see you Saturday night after the Blues take on Columbus. This has been Blues Central Postgame right here on STL Sports Central. Go Blues.